The knock on my door startled me from a light sleep, causing my head to snap upwards. I groggily sighed, glancing at the speakers on the table and then to the clock on my wall. 11:38 at night. I groaned louder, adjusting my ruffled shirt before slowly walking to my front door, not bothering to flick on any lights. "You're late as fuck," I grumbled, twisting the handle and opening the door. Or at least, trying to. A sudden force wrenched the door back closed, however, slamming it so loud I was instantly awoken from my trance as I flinched backwards. "Don't open it yet," the voice at the other end spoke. "How do you know it's really me?" I blinked slowly, far too tired to deal with this shit. "Steve," I sighed. "Quit dicking around. Do you want your speakers back or not?" "Ask me a question only Steve would know," Steve replied. I rolled my eyes, pressing close against the door and looking through the peephole as I mumbled, "I can see that it's you, Steve." I stopped. I couldn't see anything through the peephole. It was pitch black. Something was covering it. "It's not going to be that easy," Steve laughed. "Ask me a question only Steve would know." "Jesus Christ, dude," I gnashed, stepping down from the peephole. "It's almost fucking 12 at night, shut up." I twisted the handle again, only to have the door suddenly shudder with a deafening impact. My heart slammed into my throat as the wood nearly splintered with the force. I reeled back again, genuine fear flashing for a brief period as silence quickly descended. Then 3 more hammering, ear-splitting smashes shook the very foundation of the door, as if someone was slamming their entire body against it. "Open up," Steve spoke, voice unreasonably calm. I stood silent and still for several seconds, hearing the night creep back into the house, the loud knocks still ringing faintly in my ears. "That's what I'm trying to do," I spoke, my voice coming out more nervous than I intended. "You alright, Steve?" "I just want you to make sure it's me first," he calmly replied. "It could be anyone out here, waiting for you to let them in." He chuckled before suddenly slamming against the door again. "Jesus!" I flinched in a sheer panic response. "Steve, cut that out! What the hell are you doing, man?" Alright, fine," I hissed. "If you're Steve, you, well, describe the speakers I borrowed from you." "Bose sound like mini Bluetooth speaker," he replied. "It's silver, but the paint is a bit scratched on the left side." "Yes," I sighed. "You did it! Yay! Can you please stop being so weird now?" "Just let me in," he replied. I reached for the door handle, my heart rate beginning to slightly increase against my will. By the time my fingers grasped the cold knob, I could actually feel a bead of sweat trickling down my neck. But I could have just made Steve tell me that. Steve suddenly continued as I simply let my hand rest on the knob. I could have tortured him until he gave me every last detail. If I was pretending to be him, a guy coming to your house to repossess my speakers, don't you think that finding out what kind of speakers they were would be my first priority? He again laid everything out in a calm, almost playful demeanor. Almost. "Ask me something only Steve would know," he repeated, immediately reiterating himself. "Ask me something only Steve would know." "God damn it, dude," I sighed, trying to mask my growing nervousness. "Fine, what's my wife's name, and how long have we been married, and where did we go for our honeymoon?" "No!" the voice shrieked, slamming the door so hard the handle skewed slightly, aftershocks splintering through the entire house. "Mary, 4 weeks, Costa Rica, you think only Steve would know that?" My eye twitched, rage arcing through me as I glanced back into my dark house and the closed door to my room. If this bastard woke up my wife, I was going to kill him. How she hadn't already stormed out to break my neck was beyond me. "Steve," I hissed angrily. "Seriously, man, cut it the fuck out. Either stop this or I'm just actually going to call the cops on you. You're seriously starting to piss me off." Silence for several seconds. Then scratching against the door. Quiet at first, yet rapidly growing louder. "But what will the police find when they arrive?" The voice spoke. "Maybe they'll find me, Steve, standing outside just wanting to get my speakers back. Maybe they'll find you. The front door forced open, your phone jammed so far down your throat your skull is painting the ground." My eyes suddenly trained on the deadbolt. "You didn't even lock the door," the voice continued. "I could just open it." The door shuddered as I thrashed and flicked the deadbolt, just barely keeping the door from flying open as the knob twisted violently. I was now breathing unimaginably hard, pure fear eating away at my ability to think clearly. "If you just tell me you know for sure that I'm not Steve, I'll leave," the voice continued, beginning to scratch again. "That's all it's going to take." Shuffling sounds slowly crept out from under the door as the figure leaned against it, pressing its mouth to the peephole. "But you'll have to prove it." "If you're Steve," I stammered, my heart convulsing irregularly. "What did you eat almost every day for lunch in 2nd grade?" "I always loved ham sandwiches." The wood buckled slightly, the deadbolt rotating off kilter. "If you're Steve," I panicked, trying to readjust the deadbolt. "Which middle school field trip did you hate the most, and why?" "Planetarium, 7th grade, the voice cackled, "because I had the goddamn flu." The door audibly cracked, wood shavings barely missing my eyes as they erupted from the shattering frame. The lock burst from the door, metal clattering against the floor, leaving nothing but a hole in the structure. Before I could even blink, a horrific, mangled hand instantly rushed through the opening, decayed, gnarly, and elongated fingers curling around the handle as its voice seeped through. "Last chance." "If you're Steve," I squeaked in horror, my lungs so compressed barely any sound came out. "If you're Steve..." The hand began turning the knob. Steve's right hand had a scar from when he was 12. The figure stopped cold. "On his index finger," I staggered. From when he cut himself with a soda can. It's in the shape of a V. I don't see that on your hand. Can you prove to me that you have it? Because if you can't, you're not Steve." The hand slowly retracted, calmly pulling the door shut as the voice grinned out. "I cannot." The door clicked close, shuffling audible on the other side as it softly clapped in a slow, rhythmic pattern. "Well done. I am not Steve. You know your friend better than I." I felt faint, my blood a sludgy mixture of ice and adrenaline as it pounded in my ears. "If you know your friend this well," the voice continued, "for round 2, surely you can prove this to me." The door to my bedroom creaked open. Prove to me that what is standing behind you is not your wife.